Well, hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Dray. I'm a board-certified dermatologist. Today, we are tackling a very common question. Can skincare products help with loose skin following weight loss? With the rise in popularity of weight loss medications like semaglutide, tirzepatide, many people are experiencing significant health benefits associated with weight loss while on these medications. But some patients also notice changes in their face and body. The skin may be looser, the face may become more hollowed, their neck looks less firm, and their arms take on this flabby, saggy appearance. Their arms and abdomen may appear as though there's just a bunch of excessive skin there. Now, while we're seeing a lot of these types of changes in patients who are losing a significant amount of weight on these medications, these types of changes can occur as a result of significant weight loss, no matter the mechanism, whether it be through diet and lifestyle, or through weight loss surgery, or through the use of one of these medications. A recent published review took a look at whether or not skincare products could actually move the dial in terms of improving these changes associated with weight loss. So in today's video, we're going to tackle why these changes happen with weight loss, and we'll talk about what ingredients in skincare products are of interest for potentially improving this. What does the research suggest? Is this all just marketing? Because hey, when there is an increase in a population who is experiencing something and they have a concern or a desire that the market thinks it can address, you guessed it, we're going to see, well, a lot of marketing around that. So let's get into it. Like I said, one of the most important things I want you guys to take away from this video is that the changes we're going to be talking about with regards to the skin and the way the face and body skin appear, this is not specific to these medications. It can happen with significant weight loss, again, no matter the mechanism. It's largely the consequence of losing a lot of body fat very quickly. Fat sits underneath the skin and provides structural support to your skin. But when the fat compartment decreases rapidly, your skin doesn't always have enough time to adjust to this change in structural support. The faster the volume change, the harder it's going to be for your skin to adapt. It's not just due to the loss in the fat compartment. It's due to changes in other tissue compartments as well. Rapid weight loss can be associated with dehydration, low protein intake, vitamin deficiencies, and mineral deficiencies. And all of these changes can directly influence skin quality. Deep within the skin, you have a compartment of fat called dermal white adipose tissue that provides a lot of structural support to the fibroblasts of the deeper layers of the skin. Fibroblasts, as a reminder, are the cells that are responsible for producing collagen and elastin. They also make other important components of what's called the extracellular matrix. When fat stores within these specific compartments of adipose tissue begin to decline, well, the signaling between fibroblasts changes. Researchers believe that this might actually lead to not only a decrease in collagen production from the fibroblasts, but also an increase in collagen degradation through increased activity of matrix metalloproteinase enzymes that degrade collagen. When we look at the skin on biopsy, it shows a thinner epidermis, abnormalities in the junction between the dermis and the epidermis, as well as damaged collagen and elastic fibers. Take all of these changes together, and that definitely explains why the skin might have difficulty recoiling with rapid fat loss. In the review paper that looks at the research on topical skincare products, one thing that's crystal clear is that skincare products are not intended to replace lost volume, lost fat. And in no way can a skincare product physically lift the skin in the same way that reconstructive surgery can. Instead, skincare products may offer some benefit largely by improving dermal support. In other words, if you can improve fibroblast function through a topical skincare product, well, perhaps you can improve collagen production and firm the skin. Skincare products also can improve hydration and perhaps strengthen that extracellular matrix. Taken together, these changes from skincare products might impart overall an improvement in skin quality. And that improvement might just be enough to subtly reduce laxity. That's a much more realistic way to approach skincare products in the setting of loose skin following weight loss. You need to have reasonable expectations. Marketing does not always make the expectations reasonable. What are the ingredients that actually make sense to pursue? Common themes examined in this particular review paper were peptides, growth factors, fibroblast conditioned media, botanical extracts, hyaluronic acid, and vitamin A derivatives. They also examined antioxidants like resveratrol. Some of the formulations examined also contain things like rice extract, fungal extract, sodium hyaluronate, which is the salt of hyaluronic acid, as well as acetyl dipeptide 31 amide. So what stood out in the research? Well, not a single ingredient stood out as being a game changer. Why? Well, no single ingredient consistently appeared in every product examined in the literature. This is a common issue when it comes to commercial products. There are just not a lot of studies that examine an ingredient in isolation or continually test the same product that contains a certain combination of ingredients of interest. That's important because when it comes to choosing skincare, it's not about what's a good ingredient per se, but you also have to factor in the overall formulation. You can have an excellent ingredient in a crummy product with poor delivery, poor stability of that ingredient. It's not doing you any favors. You can have an excellent product with a very small amount of an ingredient of interest, but its overall formulation allows for you to derive maximum benefits from that ingredient and it works better. But if you're just looking at ingredients and where they fall on the order of ingredient list, well, you might miss an important product that could potentially help you out. Are there any randomized clinical trials though, and actual people who have lost a lot of weight, have loose skin, and are using skincare products and seeing any kind of change? I was kind of surprised because the strongest, okay, I say that in air quotes because I really wouldn't consider this strong. The strongest evidence actually came from a 24-week randomized vehicle-controlled crossover study of a growth factor serum, okay, which contained human fibroblast conditioned media, peptides, and botanical extracts. So not just growth factors, but rather some other things as well. Now, if you watched any of my videos before, you know I am incredibly skeptical of growth factors doing anything for skin above and beyond perhaps helping to improve moisture content in the outermost layers. I don't think they bind in any meaningful way to growth factor receptors in the skin and elicit changes. Biologically, it seems like such a near impossible feat to formulate a product that could do that, let alone how is it going to be specific for specific outcomes? How do you know you don't get too much activation of receptors if it actually works? How do you know that you're not then driving skin cancers and other problematic disease processes through overactivation and too much growth factor? Like, these are questions that you really need to start entertaining if these things actually work as growth factors, which is what I believe is simply not true. However, after twice daily use, participants did experience a statistically significant improvement in facial sagging, and they started noticing that about 8 weeks in. That improvement actually continued throughout the 24 weeks of the study. Here's the funny thing though, the crossover group also improved once they switched over to this. That kind of suggests that the improvements observed were due to the active ingredients themselves rather than simply putting something on the skin that's moisturizing. What's a good neck cream? Probably one of the most common questions I get on my channel, and there is actually another randomized control study that evaluated a neck cream that contained peptides and botanical extracts. Women with moderate to severe neck aging experienced significant improvements in skin laxity of the neck at 8 and 12 weeks of use with this product compared to controls. Then we have a separate study that took a look at a firming cream for the upper arms. This study showed a statistically significant improvement in upper arm sagging at 8 and 12 weeks again. While the improvements were measurable and notable, they were very modest. In other words, this is not at the same level of a result that you would get from a surgical procedure. We've all heard the buzz around exosomes, another ingredient category I'm highly skeptical and doubtful of. This paper also got a little bit into the emerging area of research around exosomes, and they showed that fibroblast-derived exosomes may actually help with communicating to the surrounding cells to support better extracellular matrix repair. A very small pilot study actually found some improvements in facial laxity after 12 weeks. However, there was also another study that looked at platelet-derived exosomes, no improvement in skin sagging. So it's, you know, an exciting area, but I really caution about jumping on the exosome bandwagon prematurely because there is so much junk out there as far as the exosomes themselves, let alone it's just very unlikely that they do anything given how hard it is to get things into the skin and get them to where they need to go specifically in the right amounts at the right time. I mean, there are all of these things that we simply do not have good evidence to suggest that these can meaningfully do anything, but it's a huge market right now. And there are a lot of studies out there, none of them reproduced, okay? So it's fine to have studies, I guess, clogging up the literature. But if you can't repeat them, is it really solid evidence? And if every study has a different set of ingredients, how can we even begin to know what works? One of the biggest questions people are typing into Google right now has to do with people searching for skincare products in the hopes that they're going to help them improve Ozempic face, which I have a lot of videos on Ozempic face. It's not specific to Ozempic. Again, can happen with significant weight loss no matter the mechanism. There simply have not been any robust clinical trials looking at skincare products to address the facial changes that can happen with significant weight loss while on GLP-1 medications. If you've noticed a theme in today's video, most of the studies that are done clinically are done not on patients who have lost a lot of weight due to GLP-1 medications, but rather people who have the visible signs of skin aging due to, well, sun damage. And it's just extrapolated that these could make a difference when it comes to your weight loss because, well, they're working to improve collagen, elastin, fibroblast function, and the extracellular matrix. So perhaps they would also work in this setting, but we really don't know. It's a reasonable hypothesis, but it needs to be tested. When it comes to addressing loose skin, skincare should really just be viewed as playing a supporting role in a much larger strategy. You want to approach significant laxity in a multimodal treatment plan that includes making sure you're getting adequate protein intake first and foremost, maintaining a good muscle development, you're working out, you're not getting too much muscle loss with the weight loss, okay? We don't want to just lose all tissues, looking to lose fat and minimize muscle loss. If you have developed any nutritional deficiencies or are getting in that territory, that really needs to be addressed. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people can run into when it comes to weight loss in general, but specifically with these medications, is nutrient deficiencies. And I actually have another video, which I'll link down below in the description box, all about the warning signs, the skin warning signs, okay, because this is a dermatology channel. The skin, as well as the hair and the nails, dermatologists tackle those things too, of underlying nutritional deficiencies that are specifically seen commonly in the GLP-1 medication users. So if you're on those meds, definitely check that video out so you don't miss those warning signs. You also need to make sure you are addressing your hydration, not just by moisturizing your skin, although that is important, but by taking in good fluid intake. This is one of the other pitfalls people can run into on these medications, is that it dampens your desire for intake. And so people don't remember or think or feel to drink water, and they can become dehydrated quite easily. Plus, they're taking in less food. Food is a big source of water in our day-to-day intake. And if you're taking in less food, you're taking in fewer fluids, you can become dehydrated, and that does not actually bode well for your skin. Even though I've said before in other videos, you can't really correct any skin problems by simply drinking more water. Dehydration, on the other hand, is not the ideal either, okay? We want to avoid dehydration. And, you know, when I make those videos saying you can't correct things like acne just by drinking more water, now we're talking about something different. We're talking about a situation where you're at risk for dehydration. Most people, as long as they're taking in food on a regular basis and some water, I mean, very little actually, are getting enough to not harm their skin. It's where we're starting to run into problems. Skin tightening procedures like ultrasound and surgery when appropriate. Skincare alone is not going to restore lost fat pads or remove excessive loose skin. Now, one of the other ideas that the authors propose is starting the skincare products well in advance and continuing them throughout the GLP-1 medication journey, if you will. So rather than waiting until the skin laxity develops, they actually suggest that it's probably better to initiate these things before you, well, even initiate the GLP-1 medication and then continue. That's an interesting concept because they think that early during the weight loss process, topical skincare products might have a better shot at making a meaningful difference for you. The biggest take-home point from today's video is that skincare products, if they play a supporting role in skin health during weight loss, during any period of time in your life, but there's not an ingredient or overall formulation that is proven, established to correct the changes that you're going to observe with prominent significant weight loss. There are some formulations and ingredients that make sense because they address the dermal components that are affected by weight loss, such as botanicals, which offer antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds and slow down matrix metalloproteinase activation. You also have vitamin A derivatives like tretinoin, adapalene, tazarotene, triferritine, the cosmetic retinol, cosmetic retinaldehyde, that with long-term ongoing consistent use can improve dermal collagen. But those excellent evidence-based ingredients in that vitamin A family, they don't replace lost fat. They don't have some ability to go in there and digest away the loose skin, okay? But they can, to a certain extent, modestly improve collagen production a bit. But they're not not going to really alter the landscape of loose skin. Hydrating ingredients like hyaluronic acid, I believe growth factors and exosomes, which are really trendy right now, I believe these are simply hydrating ingredients with a hefty price tag. So stick to hyaluronic acid, glycerin, you probably get the same outcome, although like all of these ingredients, we really don't have good evidence regardless. And remember, these studies that we went over today, they're not actually performed in people on these drugs, okay? They're extrapolated from people who have age-related laxity, loss of volume, and significant sun damage. Which brings me to my next point. Make sure you're continuing to protect your skin from the sun, whether you're losing weight or not. That is a major reason for damage to the collagen is unprotected sun exposure. But rapid weight loss, it can change a lot more than just the surface of the skin. It really can have a specific effect on the dermal white adipose tissue that is very interesting. And these drugs in particular, they think, they have a very unique outcome on that very particular compartment of the fat that not only kind of cushions the fibroblast, but also the follicle, which is where your hair grows, right? And you probably know that people on these medications, we're seeing a lot more hair loss. And also that is a source there in the follicle of stem cells and renewal. So could potentially impact healing and recovery and things of that nature. All right, guys. So I hope today's video was helpful in just establishing some expectations when it comes to weight loss and loose skin. Skincare products, they moisturize. They may subtly improve collagen if you're using something like a vitamin A derivative, but they don't have any evidence of efficacy for correcting the specific skin changes with weight loss on or through other mechanisms, GLP-1 medications. Let me know in the comments though, have you gone on these medications? What has been your experience? I actually have a lot of videos on the dermatologic changes and dermatologic effects of these medications. So I will link some of those down below in the description box, along with the video about the vitamin and nutrient deficiencies that you can see on the skin with these medications. And I'll put that video on the end slate. So watch that one next if it is of interest to you. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If so, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.